Yeah, so you hear my kids in the background. They're on the pre-bedtime hype train right now, so it's quite chaotic, but um, I'm just stepping in here to chill out a little bit. Uh, yeah, Leonard's got them. He's all good. He's holding it down out there, so don't worry about them. They're in good hands. But I've had some cards out for couple of days now. I don't know if I told you guys this, but River, well, all my kids are interested in the cards that I have, and River does like to pull us sometimes. So everything we have here is stuff that he gave me. What's up, Layla? I'm recording a video just so you know.
Crazy. I like to be calm mostly.
You want to be
That's it.
calm in here?
And I like to be listening.
Okay, that's cool. All right, she's gonna sit in with us on this. So these are all cards that River pulled. And I'm going to show them to you and talk about it real quick. This is a nice little spread. Let me show you. They are all different colors of. Layla, would you mind sitting right here, baby? Awesome.
My book.
Sure, I'll show them. Yeah, Layla wants to show the little book she just made. She asked, "What animal do you want me to draw you?" And I was like, "Maybe an owl." And she drew this little heart with wings down here. And the spider, do you see the spider? It's a little bonus. And in the back, another owl. I love that one so much. Thank you, Layla.
Thanks.
Okay, so we have almost the whole rainbow here in terms of the chakras. And I won't get into the chakras because I'm not really a teacher of that, but I just wanted to note that the colors do coordinate with what I'm saying. Mm. All right, so we're just going to do them in order that I have them here. The first one is cleansing. So this is an essential oil oracle deck, and it's cool because it has a trigger statement and a true statement. I really like that. Sometimes like the essential oil community, okay, I'm not the biggest fan. Um, but this deck showed up in my life a few years ago in a really big way. And so I knew I had to get one. I actually bought this one on eBay, um, like used. And some people have issues with used items. I think you just got to suss it out. Like it's just one of those situations where you really have to feel into your own sense of like, is this okay or not? And purification is another one of the keywords here. The trigger statement is their opinion matters to me. And the true statement is I see things in a new way. The message is as you release external influences and energy, you will become clear with regard to what is needed. What's kind of coming through for me is there is a there's certain times in your life where bringing in external influences and ideas is extremely beneficial. There's a lot of times in your life like this, right? But then there's also times in your life where it's really a better idea to tap out of those things. Um, and it's not that you tap out of them forever. You just really have to kind of check in with yourself and determine what's the right answer for right now. I think when a lot of us know that what we want so clearly is a world where we're more interconnected and we're more aware of our similarities and our we want to live in a world where everything is accepted and everyone's opinions are valued and everything like this. It can be hard to consider that right now the answer might be to shut off external influences. So I'm not telling you there's a right or a wrong, but to be open to absolutely everything sometimes is not the right answer. And especially when you're in a place where you're sort of like finding the ground that you stand on, you're developing your own inner authority. You don't quite have that worked out yet. Um, if there are things that you feel really strongly about that you haven't worked out your position, it's not to say that the position can't shift later, but sometimes when you state an opinion and you know, like within your being, that this is your current stance. It's not that you're not open, but it's like you've done research, you have experimented out there in the field, you know what you're talking about, you know that there are multiple ways to look at the situation, but this is what is right for you. And then what's up, Willa?
This is a big time treasure.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I can play treasure chest too.
Go for it. Yeah, so I'm not sure how much I have to say about this.
Treasure chest.
Maybe this is something that's been brewing within you, like coming to a new layer of this. It's not that you have to be exclusionary or exclusive or that you have to show up as, in a certain hierarchical energy. It's just everything isn't for you. And a lot of the times it's like a certain type of FOMO, which is why we can stay tapped into external influences. Okay, so I'm sure I jumbled that somewhat, but I know that it's very important for someone here to consider whether they need to tap into external influences more or tap out of them for the time being and figure something out internally. Okay, the next one is Rose, compassion. Trigger statement is I am unlovable, and the true statement is I am love. Your heart is healing and expanding with love. Spend time showering yourself with that love and then share with others. I'm getting showing up for yourself first. I'm getting whatever maintenance needs to be done. Do you guys know the Tao? Do you know sort of like the three buckets in Taoism? Three or four, depending on how you look at it. But one of them is maintenance of what you have so that you don't have to ever go into the negative. So this includes financial stuff, but it also includes obviously emotional and physical and spiritual. These things vary for everybody. So yours are going to look likely completely different from mine, or at least a little bit different from mine. But what are those things you need to do for yourself so that you can have something left for others? And if it hasn't been working, then maybe it's not time to focus on giving to others and the overflow. You have to reach that place of overflow first. And if something hasn't been working for you, if you want this thing to work for you, but it's not, Don't keep trying to force it. And try something new. You probably have a lot of ideas about what you could try too. I'm sure there are things floating around in your head like, oh, that would be cool if I brought that into my routine. Or I'd love to be a person who does this. Maybe it won't work for you exactly how it's written out in the blog post or the article or the book, or the video, but maybe it'll work for you if you use that as sort of a template and then modify it to suit your geographical area, to suit your current energetic needs, to suit your financial situation, whatever it is. Okay. The teachings of the rose are so multi-layered, and we actually have some rose oracle cards to end this reading with after we finish up these ones. Okay, citronella, expel. And the trigger statement is, I am being invaded. The true statement is, I am pure. So we've hit this theme of purification a couple of times in this reading already. And it's not my favorite word, excuse me, because it's loaded. It's one of those words that has such weird ideas associated with it. I don't love the ideas we have around the word pure. So we're just going to take those and we're just going to put them they are welcome here, but that's not what we're focusing on. Purity, that kind of stuff, okay? They can be here. They're welcome to join us in the room, but um if there's any kind of triggering within yourself around those kinds of ideas, know that that's not what we're zeroing in on here. As you align with the frequency of peace, the invasions from outside yourself and dissonance within are neutralized. Right? So this is a long journey. This isn't something that happens overnight, as you know. As you align with the frequency of peace, the invasions from outside yourself and dissonance within are neutralized. Yes, okay. So even though the disturbances, the external influences are still like there, they're still trifling, they're still doing whatever they're doing, they're not shifting your focus. They're not messing with your internal direction, and the dissonance within are neutralized. When you're aligning yourself with whatever it is that you want, however you associate with peace, um, you'll be making changes in the 3D in your external environment. Uh, we're going through, like me and my family, we're going through a lot of external shifts right now, and some of them are really big, and some of them are really little. And both are important. Those little shifts eventually lead to big shifts. That's what I found. And both the little shifts and the big shifts are challenging in their own ways. And I've learned to be just in it. Like I am here and we are going through these shifts. And I'm not like, oh, I can't wait to be at the end of this, because that's what I used to do all the time. I was like, oh, I just got to lock in. I wish someone could sedate me for a day, a week, a month, a year until I'm through this. But the being in the in between is so important to me now. And I get so much like just aliveness out of being like, yeah, I've decided to make this shift in my life. And um, it's about the journey. It's about the journey, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Um, I'm sure you already know all of that. But That's what I mean about the dissonance being neutralized, because I'm not sitting there in bed at night being like, ah, I should do this thing. I should stop doing this thing. Well, I'm in the process of doing that thing or not doing that thing anymore. And I can sort of like relax into it and be in that process. And it's very much not a punishing, harsh thing. It's an honesty of this is misaligned and I'm going to do something about it. So I'm loving the lesson of that card. Um, that's another thing about citronella. There's a repellent aspect to it. Attraction is great. We love attraction, but repelling is also as important. I learned this really early in my life, actually. I'm really good at repelling, really good at it because it serves me. And it doesn't mean I do it in the best way 100% of the time, but it serves my best interests to repel certain types of people or whatever. Um, but then even more so when I started my business when I was however old, I don't even remember. Like, when was the exact date? I think I was 22 and I started working with business owners as a web designer. One of the main things that I solidified while I was working with them was part of my framework was who are we attracting to this website, to this business, and who are we repelling? For a lot of people, they want to repel um, the types of people who want to ask 100 questions and never buy anything. They want to repel the types of people who want to do something that's not energetically aligned with their business. A lot of people I was working with were like yoga practitioners, holistic health practitioners of some way, shape, or form. So this kind of stuff was really important to them. And a lot of them already sort of knew how important it was. So it wasn't as hard of a sell to them, but I think that's something that is underrated in just people building businesses in general. Who are you attracting? That's great. Who's your ideal customer? But who are you repelling? Who is it that you're actively trying to not fill out the contact form? That's just as important in a lot of ways. So thank you, Citronella. Very cool. Um, Copaiba? I'm actually not sure. I'm not sure how to say this. Copaiba. Worthy. The trigger statement is I am ashamed, and the true statement is I am cherished. Wow. Okay, we're getting ancestor stuff in here. It's Scorpio season. What did you expect? There are connections to ancestral and childhood memories that are ready to be healed. Allow divine light to shine within. Okay, Spirit, please help me with this one. I frequently fail to talk about stuff like this in a way that is useful. So,
It's okay to get some crackers.
yeah, get some crackers. So, there's two ideas that are coming through. One is if you have been seeking transformation of the self, this is just for somebody. It may be useful to shift your focus to the word regeneration. And this is directly related to the inner child work, the inner child part, the inner child healing process. There's a regeneration of something that you still are. It's just buried deeply. Another something that's coming through is it doesn't, it's not disrespectful to change something that you were given that was passed down to you by your ancestors. It's not disrespectful to make the changes that need to be made so that you can be free. You can still be grateful for what was given to you without feeling the need to cling on to something that's no longer serving you. And the third idea is directly pinged off of the I am ashamed and I am cherished. Some of the most powerful stories in history, in books, on social media, oral stories passed down from generation to generation. Some of the most powerful stories are about people who went really far in the wrong direction. Okay, whatever that means for you. We're not putting a judgment on it, we're just acknowledging it. And then had some kind of realization. And instead of sticking with that direction, that they started to follow where they were being led and they were led out. They did a 180 or whatever it is. They chose a different direction and they transformed their life and or their family and or their community and or the world in some way. So if you feel at all ashamed of where you've landed, what you've chosen, what you've identified with, the path working that you've done, because it took a lot for you to get to the place where you are. It doesn't matter whether it's the right place or the wrong place or a place in between. It's taken a lot for you to get there. So if you're ashamed of where you've ended up, where you are in this current moment, because of your awareness of where you're being called to and the distance between those things, know that you are cherished. Your bravery to acknowledge that other place, the place you're being led, the place you're being called to, that takes deep courage and compassion. And that's what I want to say about this. Next, we have Wild Orange, Good Fortune. Trigger statement, there is not enough. True statement, I attract abundance. Feel the joy you would have once you have reached your goals here and now. You will achieve your dreams fastest that way. I think we recently talked about an energy like this. So I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I do have something to show you because of course I do. It's a book. If I could recommend you, if you are working through money trauma that may or may not be ancestral, um, this book right here is so good. Like it's just so good. Uh, okay. Yeah. It's called Existential Kink and it's by Carolyn Elliot. So there are exercises in here. There are contemplations and I I don't love like the sexual framing of it, but the shit works right here if you let it. And she has kind of a cutting style to her. So if you're looking for like the most gentle work in the world, maybe not this. However, comma, sometimes that cutting stuff, if you're looking to have a big change, have a timeline jump, what have you, that kind of stuff really does work. You just have to get in there and you have to be honest. And I just turned to this page and it has one of my favorite Carl Jung quotes on it. And it says, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness visible." And that's tea. So I highly recommend this. Actually, my first read through of this book was it was a library audiobook. So check and see if you're a library girl, see, just remember to check the library. But to be honest with you, after I listened to it, I was like, okay, I need to get this and I need to like write the practices down in my notebook and work with them that way. So that's been huge. All right, our last essential oil card is spearmint, and it says conviction. So here we go. We're heading back to the values that we've been talking about this whole Taurus season. If you're watching this and you didn't um, listen to my Taurus full moon thing, I wrote it. So it's not just like a stream of consciousness or anything like that. It's me sitting down, writing it, and then reading it out to you. And I am super proud of it. So if you have work to do on your values and you want to like a little push, that one, I made it for me and I also made it for you. The trigger statement is no one listens to me, and the true statement is my voice is heard. Have you ever been in a room where you say, like, everyone is having a contribution? Okay, the other night I was at a location and we split off into 4 breakout groups, and then we were in a circle of about 8 to 10 people, and each person got a chance to speak for 3 or 4 minutes. This is a kind of thing that I've been getting involved with for the last 5 years or so. It's just really helpful to my process. And so a lot of these circles are related to the earth and the environment. But have you ever been in one of those situations and then, or maybe it's just in a room, you're at a family reunion, you're at the Christmas party, I'm not sure, and you say something and then no one has a response, no one acknowledges what you said, but you can tell that people are moved or disturbed in some way by the thing that you said. And you're like a little frustrated because the thing you said to you, it's important, like you're tethered to it in some way, but no one seems to get that, like that it's a big deal, the thing that you said. It's not a big deal to them. It's not really, it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like they are acknowledging how important it is, but based on the way the energy moved in the room when you said it, you know that it was a big deal in some way, shape, or form. Uh, you know, I think with communication, it can be really helpful to think of it as planting seeds rather than looking for immediate shifts and acknowledgement of some kind. It says, stand strong and communicate your message. The world is ready to receive what you have to share. So, big one here, you're not too much. Just because other people don't acknowledge your power, your presence, your gifts, your speech, your art, they're not ready to. A lot of people aren't even ready to acknowledge their own all of those things. But it doesn't take away from you and what you're doing. And cultivating the ability to to speak without being affected by the response or lack of a response is a practice, and it's sort of like a muscle that you have to build up. But once you build it up, that power and magnetism of your speech, it only becomes more powerful and magnetizing. So if that's something that you want, and it's totally okay to want that, of course, just keep that in mind. I think in our culture, we are trained to expect instant gratification and instant results in a lot of ways. So this is one of those areas where it's good to remind yourself that you may be in that in-between state. And yeah, release or receive that, whatever feels right for you. Okay, we're going to end with the Rose Oracle. Number 1, we have the mother line, ancestral work, healing, and individuation. Not going to comment on any of these today, but I may read some of the extended Rose Oracle messages. We'll read that one. We're living in a time of complex healing, especially when it comes to the mother line. Collectively, we're facing the intergenerational trauma that colonialism and patriarchy have imprinted on us. So many born to mothers who were not mothered themselves. It's time to mend the chain. So many of our ancestral lines have experienced brutal persecution and separation from the sacred feminine. We've been starved of the Great Mother's unwavering embrace and instead told to look only to a male god in the sky. So many were not taught to see the sacred in all things and the feminine in all her stages as sacred, powerful, and holy. This way of living has gone on too long, and we're all being called to heal it on behalf of our ancestors past and emerging. Healing is possible. It may not be straightforward or easy, but it's possible. It can be felt forward and back. Your ancestors, past and future, are singing with you. It's time to release our mothers all the way back for what they may not have been able to give. To find a way to cultivate the loving mother within, to treat ourselves with the same deep reverence, adoration, understanding, and compassion that we longed for all along. You can be that for yourself today. You can meet yourself where others could not. And as you do, future ancestors will bless you for finding the courage to release and heal deep. I reach all the way back to the original mother, and I set all the mothers and myself free. There's a lot that's moving through me when I read that. And I've only pulled that card a couple of times. I'm being reminded of Lilith. So if you've been sitting with her at all, there may be something there for you. The Thorn, boundaries, clear communication. Let's read this one too. I'd like her to consider her ideas about boundaries. The rose is the queen of all flowers. Her soft and often fragrant bloom takes our breath away from near and far. A bridge between heaven and earth, she has the capacity to act as a portal to our true selves and call our soul more fully into our body. She leaves us in awe, allowing us to experience heaven on earth for a very precious moment. The rose is not all gentle and soft. In fact, most roses are armored with spiky thorns and prickles of various shapes and sizes. These sharp protectors act like knights defending their queen, clearly setting the necessary boundary and conditions for her to do what she was born to do. We too are like the rose. So often, we don't get taught how important clear communication and loving boundaries are to our relationships. When we're not clear on our needs, when we don't communicate them, when we don't take responsibility for them, it's impossible for others to give us what we need. This often results in a breakdown in the relationship. Communicating our needs and establishing our boundaries allows not just us to feel safe, but those we're in a relationship with to feel safe too. This card delivers the message of the importance of clear communication, boundaries, and taking responsibility for our needs. To be clear with others, we must first be clear with ourselves, and then communicate this to our loved ones and the world. What loving boundaries are you being called to establish? How are you being called to communicate clearly to those you're in a relationship with? Next is Brothers of the Rose, Sacred Masculine Protection and Support. Now, right now, I do have some commentary here. Right now, like I said earlier, I'm going through a lot of shifts in my personal life, business life, everything. Everything is moving, everything is shifting. It's amazing. I'm so excited right now. I am very much like in the flow and I'm grateful for it. One of the things that's happening is Leonard, my spouse, is taking on more of the domestic activities around here. He's been cooking, he's been cleaning, and it's not that he wasn't before, but before having a full-time out of the house job, he just wasn't here for a lot of that. And so I'm finding that it's been useful for me to cultivate another level of patience. And in doing that, like it's an investment of time and energy. It's like, when you're I hate to draw this comparison, but it's out there, so why not? When your kids try to help you with cooking and they're helping you, it's more of a like you're teaching them, and then it's something that just over time they learn how to cook. They become more self-sufficient in the kitchen, and that's a beautiful thing. Um, it's like that with a lot of, I'm gonna say men, but what I mean is anybody who doesn't know how to cook, anybody who hasn't, like cooking hasn't been a part of their life. Maybe that's because they were never taught how to cook. Maybe that's because they were always privileged enough to buy meals that were cooked by somebody else. Like there's so many reasons why somebody might not be. Maybe they only know how to make ramen, like a lot of reasons. So I've been spending that time and I've been doing that for quite a while with him, but it's starting to pay back in a really big way. He's taking on so many things. And he's been noticing other things that I could use help with and asking me to teach him how to help me with these other things. There's a part of me that always wants to reject help because of the feeling that it will be done better if I just do it. But a lot of the times that leads to the thing basically never being done because it's just sitting there waiting for me to do it. And I have my list is 1,000 miles long. So the last few years I've been practicing receiving help. Um, but it was very slow moving in the beginning because I had to invest time and energy into teaching someone how to help me. And that is something I don't always have the time and energy for, but it's starting to be a net positive thing, which is great. I can't even say how great that is. It's a new experience, just is. This is a card of the sacred masculine. Like the feminine, the sacred masculine exists within each one of us, and together we're all being called to balance those energies within us. The sun and the moon, solar and lunar, perhaps this is what it means to birth a new world. The sacred, mature masculine is something so needed in our world. It's a part of us that lives in deep honor and reverence of the feminine. It recognizes the goddess within all of life, including the earth, and is committed to the protecting and living in devotion to the feminine. The sacred masculine knows that striving and overpowering, enduring and conquering are not helpful. The sacred masculine is strong and tender and protective, but not defensive. This card could be a sign that you're being called to work on the sacred masculine energy within you that's maturing and rising. It could be that you're being called to work on ancestral healing of the paternal line. It could be an indication that you're being called to evoke or acknowledge the sacred masculine in those around you. Or it could represent the sacred masculine appearing in your life. Sacred masculine exists within all of us. The Brothers of the Rose are encircling you so that you can do your sacred work, so that you can be part of the return of the goddess on this earth. The rose is their emblem, and they wear it proudly on their hearts. How are you being called to work with the sacred masculine? One more thing was coming up. Yeah, there's the third nod to working with your ancestors and ancestral healing. I'm just going to place that there, release or receive it. But if it's been coming up, it's coming up for a reason. Okay. The Mystic Rose is the last card. Devotion, humility, humanity, and grace. Look at that. It's very pretty. I wish I could show you in a little bit more detail. I'll figure out my camera situation soon. I've got my mic set up now, so we'll do the camera next. I'm really not in a rush, but I'm enjoying like the creative process a lot. There she is. The rose was a symbol of the goddesses of old, so it's no wonder that when Christianity absorbed large parts of the indigenous Celtic traditions in Europe, the mother goddess, Mother Mary, became associated with the rose. Perhaps the reason Mary is so beloved is because she was the only mother goddess who could be worshipped safely, and as such carries with her the devotion and yearning of all those who long to worship the goddess in a feminine form. Snaps. Mary's connection with the rose has been seen in some of her titles, including Rosa Mystica, the Mystic Rose, and the Rose Without Thorns. Like those of the pagan goddesses before her, the processions that honored Mary involved walking on rose petals, The church altered the stories of goddesses past, including those who featured roses, such as Aphrodite, turning the white rose red with her blood, putting Mary in the goddess's place. Churches were erected all over Europe and beyond, in many cases on the site of Celtic temples and places of goddess worship. Many had beautiful rose windows in the west, the direction of the feminine, in dedication to Mary, Mother of the Rose. This is a card of compassion, devotion, and grace. It encourages us to soften toward humanity and to endeavor to see the world and even those who have hurt us with understanding, an open heart, and deep humility, to see that we all carry hurt and are wounded. We have all experienced suffering. Mother Mary is inviting you to open your heart to humanity when you most want to close. Okay, that's it. That's the message. So I'm going to close this out. And if you're here with me still, thank you for being here. Here's a little ramble from me, postcard ramble. I have a lot of ideas of what I want to do here on this channel. This is not necessarily like a public facing channel. It's public, but this is mostly a channel where I put my private astrology readings for people. They're like unlisted. So those aren't public facing videos, but a lot of what I'm going to be doing here is more of what I've already been doing. But I'm planning on bringing in, like, there are things that I want to learn related to making videos. I have people in my community who are doing really fucking incredible things, and nobody wants to film and edit videos, and no one has the time, and blah, 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 blah. So, since, like some of y'all know this, I'm restarting my web design company right now. Leonard and I are doing that and I'll have links and whatnot very shortly here because we're wrapping up like the launch phase. But, since I'm doing all that, like I'm interested in making my own videos. And I'm not interested in outsourcing that part of the creative process right now. I finally have to learn how to film and edit videos. And it's been something that I've been like putting off for so long, for one reason or another, mostly excuses. And a lot of the excuses are related to not having the perfect filming environment, like having kids and having like things are messy and stuff like that. But, and like me, like I'm not correct, for a lot of for what social media has been, what like a lot of people on the internet have wanted. But again, those are all excuses, and there's plenty of people out there who don't fit certain molds. So either way, I'm feeling like being creative in that way now, and it's been really fun. So on here, I will probably film some number of like tutorials or something as well. Because I like sitting down and pulling cards and talking about astrology and whatnot. That's cool. Like, obviously, I'm interested in it, but I also want to do things that are not like that. I want to show you some of the other things that I've been working on. Um, I have a million and a half, as we all do, things that I'm interested in and things I know how to do and that I could show somebody how to do. So you'll probably see some other stuff popping up. And a lot of it's going to be sort of like boring stuff, but I don't actually think that I have to. I think a lot of the boring stuff is really important. So I'll just say that, like reframing or relearning how to do some of the boring stuff. And by boring stuff, I mean like cooking, cleaning, um, yeah, getting back to the basics. So I'm going to show you how I do some of that stuff and infuse a little bit of magic or ritual or whatever into them. And some of this stuff is stuff that I have been doing solidly for 5+ years. And then some of this stuff is stuff that I've discovered over the last year or two. I'm still really like shifting it and working it into my routines, but I'm passionate about it regardless. So I want to share in case there's something in it that you might be able to take and make it your own. So yeah, I think I just wanted to talk a little about a bit about that and share with you just, just some things I'm considering posting on this channel. If you're still here and there's something you have an idea of something that you would like me to make a video about, I'm in the mode of figuring out how to film and edit videos right now, better. And I am open to ideas. Like, yeah, I don't know. If you're one of my friends watching this and you're like, oh, I wanted to know more about that thing she does, but we haven't had the time to hang out one on one and talk about it, which is, highly likely, then leave me a comment and that will go at the very top of my list of things to make a video about. So yeah, because I'd love to save one-on-one time for like connecting with you and talking about how things have been going. And because we always like those kinds of things, we could talk about those things for hours. And I feel like those are more important. So if there's like some silly little thing or some big thing that you're curious about and you think would make a good video topic for me, I'm very open to that. All right, I'm gonna let you go. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will be back really, really soon. Peace.